On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
King Triton should have been King Triton should have been a black man. That if you want to make it real, a black man battling Ursula that got a bonnet on her head that walked into the grocery store, right? Ariel should have been from the Dominican Republic because we all know all of the black men is going over to the Dominican Republic and trying to get them. So that's who Ariel should have been, right? If we gonna make it real, let's make it real. And the crab should have been the rappers because we all know that they crabs in a bucket. We all know that them the ones that's trying to keep us down. That's what we should have did.
Your cap. See, this is why Ariel should never be a black woman because she don't want to get her weave wet. You know this. You know, half of these black kids grow up, these black children never jumped in the swimming pool because their mama didn't straighten their hair.
Kids don't even see racism until they see what happens in their own household. And then they start to develop this mentality and this trauma that's been passed down to them from other people, especially in this society, that haven't even really experienced any real racism in their life in the first place. As a matter of fact, the most racist people that I know perpetuated against not only other people that look like themselves, but also they're the ones that's in your own household talking about honkies and white people and crackers, bro. Listen, this junk is trivial. It's absolutely positively trivial. And as a matter of fact, I believe, because I don't look at myself and I don't separate myself except from trash people, right? I rock with black people, I rock with white people, I rock with Asian people. And for me to even be able to or have to have this conversation amongst people I rock with just because we want to separate ourselves is asinine. It's stupid, it's silly, it's childish. We act like we the boomer generation that was trashing themselves, and you see how far that got them. And I just can't stand separating myself based off of something that none of us can even help that we are in the first place. I'd rather be around people that make decisions based off of what they can control than things that they can't control. And I've never, ever, and I will never, ever teach my daughter to separate themselves or separate herself based off of something that she cannot control. And we teach this garbage. And us even having this conversation continues to emphasize and place this generational trauma on people when in reality, if you wanted to do something, you can do it, and it's not anybody holding you back. And if you need a fictional character, because as a matter of fact, I liked The Little Mermaid, the original. Under the Sea, I liked the original Little Mermaid, and I don't want to see a nigga swimming with a mermaid costume messing up what I experienced as the Little Mermaid earlier in my life. I like the original Little Mermaid, and I'm tired of y'all fucking up the characters. Go and make something new and original. Why we got to continue to transform characters that was already set into something else just to please niggas that wasn't even supporting that in the first place?
Hey, you know she gay, right? You know she gay. She gay.
In the movie?
Really? You know what the worst part about it is?
She like her mouth wet.
Hey, you know what the worst part about it is? Y'all asking for something from people y'all don't even know who own it, because anybody can buy stock in Disney. Anybody can own Disney. There are no gatekeepers.
But Anton, think about it though, right? The younger generation, some of them probably never even seen that old Ariel, or the old one, Little Mermaid. You see what I'm saying? Like, how? Unless
and y'all gonna pass the trauma right on. Y'all gonna pass y'all own trauma that y'all learned from y'all daddies and y'all great grandmothers and y'all great grandparents. Y'all gonna pass this same trash narrative down to y'all kids, and they gonna pass it down to their kids, and they all gonna be running in the victim Olympics. Real talk.
All right. If you're watching in the audience, you're engaging in the chat. We're doing trivial or big picture. Put a T if you think it's trivial. Put a B if you think it's the big picture. We are discussing the Ebony Mermaid. So let me hear your thoughts. I'm looking in the chat right now. I see some B's. I saw some T's earlier, but go ahead and let us know what you guys think. Lauren, I'm gonna go to you. The Mermaid, trivial or big picture.
So I would would say trivial. I was leaning more towards big picture earlier, but listening to what everyone's saying, a lot of people make a lot of valid points. But I would say trivial simply because, to Anton's point, I mean, we could easily create a new person, have an original character that would be based upon whatever story we decide to tell. However, if we're just taking amalgamation of whatever story was sold to us by Disney or whatever, and just try to revamp it, I would say it actually dampens our culture, because now we're telling a story. We just have a blackface telling the same story that white people have been telling for however long they've been telling it. I think it would be more important. Two things I would say is more important. One, keeping in mind that this is a fairy tale. This is a fantasy. This is not real life. So even if these young children are watching this and they're getting excited, I think it's important to also have a conversation with the child and say, hey, just FYI, you put it in child's terms, right? FYI, this is not a real thing. This is a character. She's fictitious. She's not real. So try not to put too much of yourself into this character. It's good to have an identity, but she's not a real person. You know what I'm saying? So I think we would do a lot better if we had characters that actually resembled real people, or people that can give us, like, I don't know how to describe it, but basically I don't have an issue with Ariel. It's more or less of, if what you're saying is true logic about her being, I guess, gay in the movie or whatever. I haven't seen.
No, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Okay.
That was good though. She didn't get it. She like wore it in her mouth. All right, don't worry. Go ahead.
What?
But even that, and I'll wrap this point up, but even that is funny because, like, even the story of Little Mermaid is actually a really dark story. It has a dark history to it, but we don't talk about that part. We just make it all nice and pretty, puppies and rainbows and stuff of that nature. So, I mean, if you know the story, if you know how to make sure your child is aware of the realities around him or her, then that's important. But hey, whatever.
Lauren, they should have made it more realistic. Like, they should have put the characters how we do it in modern society. Ursula should have been a black woman with a bonnet on her head. King Triton should have been King Triton should have been a black man. That, if we want to make it real, a black man battling Ursula that got a bonnet on her head that walked into the grocery store, right? Ariel should have been from the Dominican Republic, because we all know all of the black men is going over to the Dominican Republic and trying to get them. So that's who Ariel should have been, right? If we gonna make it real, let's make it real. And the crab should have been the rappers, because we all know that they crabs in a bucket. We all know that them the ones that's trying to keep us down. That's what we should have did.
Your cap. See, this is why Ariel should never be a black woman, because she don't want to get her weave wet. You know this. Half of these black kids grow up, these black children never jumped in the swimming pool because their mama didn't straighten their hair.